Sardinia, brutal course on the drivers. Acciona Sainz still lead the championship, but can they beat the island's best? The first hit for Island Prix goes to Rosberg X Racing. Watch for the merge here, who's going to come out in front? Oh, contact, massive shot! I think that's Christopherson into Sainz. R.08 still running. Arlen Kolinski up the inside, through the water splash and into the lead. Rosberg X Racing take victory here in Sardinia. Double win here for R.08. Ekstrom all the way round the outside to take the lead. Oh, Christopherson stopped, surely that's their winning streak over here. Acciona Sainz, Sands takes the win. They've broken R.08's dominance in Sardinia. Can they do it again and take a huge leap towards the championship title?
Hello and welcome to Extreme E, where we're in Sardinia for the Island X Prix. I'm Jess Rogers and alongside me is the wonderful Andrew Coley.
Sardinia is one of the toughest challenges in motorsport. Boy, and now we've added water. Leading a single lap takes sublime skill and courage, not to mention the world's best drivers attacking you at every turn.
Extreme E was founded as a sport with purpose, with environmental values and equality at its core. This event, we focus on equality, meeting the leaders delivering extreme racing in extreme locations. And on track, 50% of the field is female, competing side by side with their male competitors.
We are now at the business end of the season. This course will deliver spectacular action and it will snatch the title dreams of the drivers if they are not 100% focused 100% of the time. It's game on in the championship here at the Island X Prix. Well, we started the season down in Saudi Arabia, rounds 1 and 2, all double headers this year. Veloce Racing took the opening round of the season. Acciona Sainz took round 2.
We then headed to Scotland, and mud and rocks was the terrain for the Hydro X Prix back in May, where X44 Vita Carbon Racing took race 1 and Veloce Racing took win number 2.
Then to Sardinia, the island, the theme wildfires, Rosberg X Racing with a double win. As you saw at the top of the show, they managed to take all 5 wins here in Sardinia over 3 seasons. One of them taken away after contact with Acciona Sainz, ironically last year at the merge. And then Acciona Sainz finally broke that win streak yesterday. Round 7 was won by them here in Sardinia, and round 8 takes place today.
And the finale, we are heading back down to South America, to Chile in December, where the championship will be decided.
That's how we'll be heading to Chile. The Santa Helena be loading up all the cars on there. Some work for some of the teams to do to get their stuff prepped and ready again before it makes that long journey. They won't have much time prior to that event to get things set up. Hoping for a fantastic championship finale, but that, of course, depends what happens here today in round 8. Now, it's round 8, so you've missed 7 rounds already. Luckily for you, we've got a fantastic little trick here to show you just what has happened so far in 2023.
Season 3 of Extreme E began on the picturesque shores of the Red Sea in Neom, Saudi Arabia.
Hammer down now, release the handbrake. Oh, it's in the water! Oh my God!
Everything okay?
Yes, it does.
No, not again! A 3rd roll for Andretti!
After a brutal 2 days of racing, wins for Veloce and Acciona Sainz left them level at the top of the championship.
Vamosla ya, que hemos ganado la carrera!
The scarred landscape of a former coal mine put the teams to the test when Scotland played host to the chaotic Hydro X Prix.
Contact to the roll! Absolutely huge crash! Timmy Hansen going to pass McConnell, pushes him out wide, and R.08 off the side of the road! Johan Christopherson!
After a tough battle in the final, X44 Vita Carbon Racing stayed out of trouble to claim the win in round 3. Round 4 brought some of the worst weather conditions in the championship's history.
Oh no! Look at Christopherson, full opposite lock.
However, Veloce maintained their composure to take their 2nd win of the season and reclaim championship lead.
Top step of the podium for Kevin Hansen and Molly Taylor.
Round 5 saw a return to stunning Sardinia for the Island X-Prix, and the grand final saw one of the most remarkable comeback drives in Extreme E history.
Christopherson into the side of the App Cupra. The RXR is going fully off-road, straight through the bushes on the outside of the track. Puncture for App Cupra. The rear left tyre is off the rim for Sebastian Loeb. Christopherson, looking after that off-track excursion, has come in P3.
That was the race. Yes.
Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski slides. Oh, money! They've gone from potentially taking the win to lying on this side in the dirt. This is wild.
Keep close, Michaela. Car 99 might have a penalty. Keep going.
Arlen Kotlinski and Johan Christopherson with an incredible drive. A disaster at the start, and they come back to take the win in round 5.
In round 6, RXR was slow off the line again in the final.
Christopherson drops out, and this time it's Timmy Hansen who goes off-roading, and Christopherson comes from the back of the pack to the lead. How has he done that?
But passed for the lead in the opening moments this time to underline their dominance in Sardinia. And leaving them breathing down Acciona Sainz' neck at the top of the championship. Back in Sardinia for round 7, and it did not disappoint. There was carnage throughout the day.
Molinaro gets launched!
But the grand final was all Acciona Sainz right from turn 1.
Ekstrom all the way round the outside to take the lead.
To the checkered flag.
Acciona Sainz takes the win here.
Behind them, countless problems for the chasing pack further strengthened their championship lead going into round 8.
Well, a magical weekend so far for Acciona Sainz, and team owner Carlos Sainz is joining me now. The buzz in there must be brilliant. You've started today as you left off yesterday. Just try and sum it up for us.
Yeah, of course. Yesterday was finished with the victory, so you need to start from 0 today and obviously start with another victory. It was really exciting, very tight. Laia make really good last lap, good last move. And yeah, now the mechanics are checking up the car. It is a hard track. The water also is making some tricky things on the brakes and on the rest of the car. And yeah, they are working hard to prepare the car for the second. We know this championship can change like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Carlos. Best of luck for the rest of the day. We'll see.
Everyone in the paddocks there getting ready for another great day of racing. It's pretty hot out there. Acciona Sainz having a good weekend by all accounts, but round 8, it's all to play for, and we start again today with qualification.
Yeah, we do. Now, one team that won't be taking part, unfortunately, is McLaren. So they had that huge role with Emma Gilmore in free practice, and then they had another role yesterday in the redemption race. So McLaren will take no part in round 8, sadly. A shame, but we'll see them back at the end of the year in Chile.
Qualifying 2 coming up then in the blazing heat here in Sardinia. It is windy, but my goodness me, it is hot. We are outside the McLaren tent. Of course, Neon McLaren not racing today due to what's been a pretty chaotic weekend. Tanner Faust is joining me as somewhat of a co-host, so thank you very much for your time, Tanner. Firstly, we saw that huge role for Emma on Friday. She is here. How's she doing?
Good. They kept her overnight just for observations. I mean, it was a big shunt. It was over 120 kilometers an hour. I don't know how many times she rolled, probably 5, but unfortunately she did have a minor fracture and a rib, which in driving world there's nothing minor about a rib fracture. They're very painful. So she was out, and we got the series driver, Tamara, jumped in, unfortunately also rolled, and that leads us to today without a car. But the main thing is both drivers are healthy and are good. The Odyssey is incredibly strong. These were big crashes. So we're happy about that, and we're looking forward to Chile.
Yeah, the safety in these cars is incredible when you do watch the crashes back, that both drivers, are relatively unscathed. We're talking about extreme courses here, and this one is extreme, isn't it? How difficult is it out there, and how much are you seeing the course evolve to, certainly as racing gets underway today?
You hear a lot of kind of buzzwords from drivers, challenging and tricky, and they're so understated. It is a brutal track. The water splashes are, they look like they would clean the windscreen, but really it's the splash after the main one where you go through the mud puddle that gets dragged out by the water splash that completely coats the windscreen and takes a while to clear. So there's a moment of visibility being 0. When you're in a race, that's very difficult. And then, of course, in your ear, you have this push, push, send it, send it. You know, you got in the command center, your whole team is urging you just to make up a couple seconds. But with these vehicles, the harder you push, sometimes the slower you go. So you have to really tidy it up. So you see, it's really impressive how clean the drivers look while they're driving such a chaotic track. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're having a go at presenting now, but I would not want to have a go at driving one of these cars around here. I can tell you that.
I'm not having a go at presenting. This is your job. I appreciate that you don't try to take my helmet. I'm definitely not going to hold this for very long. No,
it's a deal.
It's fun, but I appreciate it being able to come up and talk about it. But
yeah.
It really is an amazing track, amazing race, and very, very narrow now coming into qualifying. Interesting for me to watch from the other side.
Yeah, for sure. And look, every single point counts in this, doesn't it? On Continental Traction Challenge, Countback, for example, championship points matter. What's the mindset for a driver with that all looking ahead?
I mean, it's a race, so you're really trying to finish as high as you possibly can, but you're hearing in the last lap from the command center when really you need to force the issue on that pass.
No, absolutely. Tanner, thank you very much indeed for joining me. A real pleasure to chat to you. Well, we've got qualifying coming up very soon. We'll see how it all pans out.
Right, let's take a look at the championship standings as we go into round 8 from Sardinia. 136 points for Acciona Sainz. That brilliant performance yesterday gives them an 18-point lead over Rosberg X Racing, who are 8 points up the road from Veloce. Now, those top 3 teams really are the ones who are in the championship hunt. Everybody else, they're fighting for position, but they have to be within 58 points of the leaders if they want to stand a chance of taking the Champions Trophy at the end of the weekend. So, in all honesty, once we're getting down to the bottom end here, they're racing for honour.
Right, well, let's take a look at what happened in qualification 1.
Round 8 in Sardinia, qualifying underway. Q1, Heat 1, off the line, super equal down towards Turn 1 over that jump. It was Timo Scheider who edged everybody out with a nice sideways move through Turn 1. Bit of contact from Sebastian Loeb behind meant that he slotted in behind Fraser McConnell. Loeb, though, made a move on McConnell a few corners later. As they pass through the water splash, you'll see that Kevin Hansen is super close in behind the Jamaican as they exit. Come the next overtaking opportunity, Hansen slotted up the inside, moving up into P3, which soon became P2, because in the background you'll see Timo Scheider, the leader of the race, retiring in the Carl Cox Motorsport machine. Into the switch zone, handing over to the partner drivers, Clara Anderson under enormous pressure from Molly Taylor for Veloce. Late in the race, Taylor suffered technical issues and a puncture, was stranded out on track. So that left Anderson in the clear to hold on to that lead, take the win for her, Loeb and App Cooper, with JBXE coming home in P2. On to race 2, and unfortunately McLaren missing from the lineup after their second roll yesterday. Couldn't repair either of the cars in time. Down at Turn 1, RJ Anderson got the whole shot. Matthias Ekstrom tried to go around the outside as he did in the final yesterday, but Johan Kristoffersen held on to P2. Timmy Hansen in P4. It was very sensible driving from 4 of the world's best off-road drivers. Into the switch, it was Chip Ganassi racing with the lead, but something went wrong because they left the switch zone in P3. Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski looked like she was going to check out at the front on the very first lap, but Laia Sanz was hunting her down, the Spanish driver, on an absolute mission to help secure the championship for the team. Coming into the water splash, Katie Munnings ran into the back of Amanda Sorensen. The hood of the car was up. She couldn't see where she was going, ended up in the ditch at the side of the track. Meanwhile, Acciona Sainz took the win by 0.06 of a second. An incredible photo finish. Can they have another perfect day? So we mentioned that McLaren a couple of times aren't in. This is why. This is Emma Gilmore's absolute monster of a crash from Friday's free practice session. The car shedding nearly all of the panels, and as you heard, or should have heard over the course of the weekend, she has a fractured rib, so not taking part, and we send Emma Gilmore our very best. They took the championship car, which is the car that's used for things like VIP rides, setting up the track and everything, put the McLaren livery on it, changed the setup to how they want it. Watch on the right-hand side, Molinaro, a monster of a crash as well. So unfortunately, McLaren out for round 8. This is down towards the finish line. There was another angle of it there. You didn't get to see just how high it went. But after Q1, Ekstrom and Sanz at the top of the table. Looking like another brilliant day for them here for round 8. Loeb and Anderson in P2 for App Cupra. Same two teams that won the races yesterday. That's how they finished in their qualifying 1 races, and on the right, that is how they will line up for qualifying 2. Veloce, Acciona Sainz, RXR, will that championship fight go right the way down to Chile? Now, we've got Extreme H coming up soon. If you've never heard of Extreme H, that's because it was only announced this week. Here's Alejandro Agag.
Extreme E founder Alejandro Agag joins me now. Alejandro, it's brilliant to see you back here in beautiful Sardinia as well. A nice wind, but still pretty blazing hot sunshine, isn't it? Now listen, coming into this race weekend, we had some unbelievable announcements from Extreme E, namely Extreme H. Just tell us a bit more.
Well, we've been working for a few months already on this project with the FIA. And it was great to announce with the president of FIA, Mohammed bin Sulayem, the new Extreme H championship, with a path to become a world championship. And I think that's the direction that we're going to take with everything. We're going to go hydrogen. We think that hydrogen is one of the technologies that will be a very important part of decarbonizing mobility. And that's where Extreme is heading. And yeah, it was great to do this first announcement. There will be more to come. 24 will be a year of transition. And then 25, we will be probably going only hydrogen.
Hydrogen only. And it's not just sport, is it? Sport's a test bed for innovation, for the world, and as you say, for decarbonising mobility and transport as we see it now.
Yeah, I mean, really the reason to exist for championships like this is to become a test bed, a laboratory to test different technologies. And I always talk about 2 perimeters. You have the perimeter inside the car, but also everything outside the car. Inside the car, of course, we're going to make the best technology for fuel cells, for batteries, also buffer that are going to, supply the powertrain, electric powertrain of these vehicles. But then if you look at outside the car, there are huge challenges, which are also opportunities around transporting the hydrogen, storing the hydrogen, the actual charging into the cars. Many technologies that are going to be very, very relevant. And we in Extreme H are going to have all that know-how that then we can share to make mobility more sustainable.
That's amazing to see. Alejandro, thank you so much for telling us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Qualifying 2 coming up, crucial session for those people that haven't had a good run in Q1. We're going to head down and have a catch up with Fraser McConnell, who is in the command centre. Fraz, how's it going? What's the plan for this one?
Good, good. It's hot in here, but I'm standing in front of the AC, so all is good. It's about to get really noisy and stressful in the command center here when everything goes red and Scott starts to talk to us like we're going into final battle. But it's we're ready.
You should be fine with this heat, mate. You're Jamaican. I mean, we know it's hot out there. You guys had a P3 last time. You got 6 points. Another P3 might see you through, but I think you're going to need to be more aggressive than that.
Every race we're going for the win. It's one race at a time here. Everyone is going for the same goal, so we just need to keep our head down, stick to our game plan. Christina's going to hopefully have a brilliant start and just stick to her instincts and keep going, because she's super fast. She knows how to get this car on the track and hopefully give it to me in a nice position.
All right, well, we'll look forward to that, mate. Best of luck for it. Go get it.
Thank you. Big up, guys. And boss man, Luis, big up. Good luck in the Singapore race. You got this.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Island X Prix. Qualifying round 2, heat 1 is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
Here we go then. This session particularly crucial for Andretti Autokilit and for Carl Cox Motorsport. They need a good result. A P1, 2 or 3 the other teams have, that might be enough with another average result. Certainly the people with a win, and last time out that was App Cupra, that puts them in a very strong position. They could even maybe have a P4 and scrape it through. But if you were 4th or 5th in that first run, as we saw for Carl Cox Motorsport and Andretti Autokilit, they must have a good result here.
Here's the grid then. On the right-hand side, you've got Carl Cox Motorsport and Leah Block going there. Then next to them, you've got Cristina Gutierrez for X44. In the middle, it's RXR. And then Andretti with Katie Munnings, who's really going to want to put in a good performance here. And on your far left, it's Clara Anderson for Abt Cupra.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
30-second warning comes from Scott Elkins, the race director. There's Michaela Arling-Kotlinski. On the outside, Leah Block. Got to get a long way across to the inside line for turn 1 there. Anderson's got that nice run down to the first corner, but it doesn't always equal a good exit being on the inside line. You sometimes have to take a lot of speed off to make it round. Munnings, P2 on the grid. They're desperate for a good result. Here we go. Wait for the green and we'll get them launched down. There it is, away from the line. Everybody using that Innoa Hyperdrive. Gutierrez went later on it than the others. Very, very equal indeed. RXR, Michaela's Arling-Kotlinski maybe going to get there. She's slightly further ahead. Could go late on the brakes at Cooper on the inside line. Oh, Gutierrez all the way around the outside for X44. That is a brilliant move. Is she inside though into the next corner? She is. So Gutierrez does what Ekstrom did yesterday in the final. Gets around the outside and puts herself in a prime position in the whole shot as they exit the first turn.
Yeah, woo! What a start. Everyone was flying. I mean, we talked about the McConnell line, but Gutierrez there really putting in a shift against Arling-Kotlinski. Where did she get that extra power from?
Well, she went later with the hyperdrive. I wonder if losing it, if you use it immediately, you get an extra 100 kilowatts. You don't want that when the wheels are spinning off the line. You end up with more wheel spin. So potentially just waiting half a second or a second. Remember then that she's using the hyperdrive slightly later than the others, maybe, but that's kind of a bit of educated guesswork from us here in the commentary box. Gutierrez leads. McConnell will be taking over that car. Arling-Kotlinski will hand over, of course, to Christopherson. Got Anderson in P3, and I'm afraid it's the two drivers, the two cars that needed a good result are doing battle at the back. So Leah Block and now Katie Munnings looks to try and get up the inside line. She's alongside, so Munnings and Block side by side through the second water splash. Block just squeezes Munnings out. Munnings can't see now, gets the wipers on. The wipers weren't put on before the splash. That would have just got the visibility a little bit earlier. Leah Block running up the bank on the outside line. So they both need, I think, a 1, 2 or 3 to make it through. So a little bit of work for Carl Cox Motorsport and for Andretti Autokeel to do.
Yeah, 100%. You can barely even see which livery it is in terms of Block. The Carl Cox Motorsport, the car is absolutely covered in mud, and X44 out the front, looking clean as anything. Got about a 2-second lead at the moment on RXR Arling-Kotlinski. Remember, last time we were in Sardinia, RXR had an unbelievable weekend. They won back-to-back, and here they're in a real battle with Acciona Sainz, who are on for an absolutely stormer of a weekend. But at the moment, it's X44 in lap 1. Got another lap to go with the female drivers until they pass over to their male counterparts. And yeah, everyone's getting through clean so far. We love having all 5 cars making it round the whole time.
Yeah, it'll only be 4 in the next one, unfortunately, with McLaren out, of course, for the weekend. We've got Tamara Molinaro in the commentary box. Tamara, disappointment for you yesterday, and are you okay, first of all?
Hi everybody. Yeah, I'm quite okay. For sure could have been worse. Just my shoulder is a little bit sore, and of course my heart hurts a little bit, but yeah, not too bad.
Good racing going on out here at the minute. Track conditions, it looks warm, 36, 37 degrees. Is it warmer than yesterday?
Yeah, I feel like it's quite warmer comparing to yesterday, and as well, you know, you just, yeah, it's super warm.
Hot work for these guys in the cars. Coming into the right-hander before the water splash. Leah Block just ahead of Katie Munnings. They're now up behind Clara Anderson. Clara Anderson off to the left-hand side. Oh, there's an opportunity there. Block with a really muddy screen. Katie Munnings right in behind them. So they have been gapped by RXR and by X44 out front. Now Anderson getting a bit more of a wiggle on. You can see Anderson's car. The Abt Cupra is not that muddy, where she's just been slightly behind RXR, but that's good visibility. Don't forget as well, the Abt Cupra, they took a win in the first qualifying session, so a P3 here is a solid result. To be honest, they can take a no-risk strategy from here.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to want to keep that car in good nick come to the grand final later. So if they can just hold on to P3, take it, not easy. No, none of these drivers ever take it easy. But, you know, just keep it safe, keep it on there, and you don't want any more damage to your car, because anything can happen, as we know.
Qualifying points at the minute on the left-hand side of your screen would see 3 teams tied on 16 points. I think that will be strong enough to put them all through. We reckon 12 to 14 is normally the cut-off point to make it through to the grand final, but yeah, 3 teams, they'll be separated by their performance, remember, in the Continental Traction Challenge, so their order there will be based on how fast they are between the 2 drivers in that section. Into the switch zone. Tamara, the switch is absolutely crucial, isn't it? And how were you guys getting on with it yesterday?
Well, you know, of course, it's very difficult when you just jump in last minute for a team. You have to get used to the seat position of the male driver, and you have to make sure that, you know, everybody knows exactly what they have to do. And of course, like, some of the dynamics change as well comparing to what the teams are used to. So it's definitely not an easy job to do in such a short notice. But I think me and Tanner and the team actually worked out really well with the switch. So yeah.
I was going to ask you how you got on with Tanner. He's a great guy, isn't he, Tanner? Did you have fun sort of comparing details with him?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it has been an honor for me to work with the team and Tanner, for sure. It has been great, really great teammate, really helpful and very supportive. So yeah, it has been a really, really great experience for me.
We know we'll see you back in a race car soon, so we're going to continue with this one. I love the fact we've got drivers carrying buckets. That's one of the main jobs in the switch zone in these muddy conditions, to get the car cleaned off. X44 going to leave the switch zone in the lead. They came in with 5.2 seconds in the end over Arlen Kotlinski. So, but last time out, RXR got a P2. They're going to end up with 2 P2s here. X44 were third. They're going to get a win in theory. Cooper had a win again, going to get third. That's how they're all ending up on 16 points. I think those 3 will go through from this, meaning it's pretty likely only 2 are going to get through. Of course, we've only got 4 cars in the next one anyway. But it's going to, yeah, the points in the final might be higher than normal.
Yeah, definitely. Really good to speak to Tamara there. Glad she's doing okay. And really great to hear about that partnership, because it is all about partnership. Oh, and we have got Scheider, their Timo Scheider for Carl Cox Motorsport, using that Noah Hyperdrive straight away. So not waiting for the Continental Traction Challenge. It's all about getting the points at this point. Instead, you know, to get those points to get through to the grand final. They're not really too bothered about the Continental Traction Challenge right now, I imagine.
No, whereas you could see McConnell, who was further up the road, you saw the graphic light up, you didn't see him at the time, but he would have been in that Traction Challenge section. So he'll be looking for those extra championship points and just a bit of extra kudos as well of being the quickest driver through there. So through the water splash now with a little bit of a gap, there's the difference. Look, if you're not right behind another car, you don't get roosted by the mud, and you have a little bit more visibility. So that's our top 4. How far back is Hansen? There's Timmy Hansen in the background, so understeer into that left-hander. We know how slippery it is in there. And Scheider used his hyperdrive, I think, to gap Timmy Hansen a little bit coming out of the switch zone, so to remove the pressure. And he is now chasing down Sebastian Loeb in front of him. So Timo Scheider has not given up on getting P3 here. Maximum attack from Scheider. But at Loeb, of course, very, very experienced. Not going to be an easy pass, but Scheider on the attack.
Yeah, definitely. They're really after this, aren't they? I mean, they haven't had the best. They had a really disappointing time yesterday, Carl Cox Motorsport, with a did not finish. And so they're going to want to be in that grand final and right that wrong today, for sure. But Loeb, they're just, you know, absolutely holding on. He's not easy to pass.
He's not. He's not. So we've got in the, yeah, here we go. Over the line, X44, RXR coming through as well. How close is that fight, though? Come on, between Loeb and Scheider. Scheider was all over him. Really want to see the tear-up that's going on between them. Scheider's got to take some risks. They need the points. Here it is. That's the super close fight. Scheider can risk it here. Loeb can afford to play it safe. I don't think Hansen's going to get to them, so I don't think he's going to come into play here. McConnell out front. 1.98, so Rosberg's closed the gap down. Christopherson has closed the gap down on McConnell. Where are they? Yeah, they are not close enough to have a little look yet. Right, we've got a decision come through from race control. So we have decisions. We're saying it's we've got a dropped waypoint flag for RXR. So RXR have dropped a waypoint flag. Here it is, and that's going to be a 10-second penalty. So is that going to drop them down behind? Yes, it might drop them behind at Cooper, and it could. If Carl Cox Motorsport got past at Cooper, they could potentially get up into P3. So Scheider won't necessarily know that, but I reckon the team will be onto him now. Scheider needs to pass Sebastian Loeb, and that might scrape them through. RXR, meanwhile, need to try and get that gap up above 10 seconds. So this is all on the clock now. It's so close. They'll be on to Christopherson. He's 9 tenths behind Fraser McConnell. He's 10.8 seconds up the road now. So he needs another 1/10 of a second to stay in that position, even with the 10-second penalty. Kristoffersen's got to go for it here. He really has. Super close in on that marker on the left-hand side. Down now into the left-hand, and we're watching the clock here. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, and what a drive from X44 Vida Carbon Racing so far. They were a bit disappointed yesterday with some car issues going on, but really taking the lead now.
McConnell then with Kristoffersen breathing down his neck. Kristoffersen needs that gap back to Cooper to remain at 10 seconds at the minute. I don't think he's quite got enough. Over the line, X44 take it. Brilliant performance by them to win this qualifier. RXR, now it's in the hands of the teams behind on what the gaps are as they cross the line. Coming down to take the finish, Sebastian Loeb holds on for Cooper. Carl Cox Motorsport get P4 and Andretti out to Kiel at P5. So Andretti won't make the final. Carl Cox Motorsport didn't get that pass done, and Rosberg loses 1 place. So RXR drop down 1 place. Cooper get P2 with the 10-second penalty for RXR. McConnell doesn't look too happy, but actually that's a great performance. You know, he's not all fired up in the car.
I tell you who does.
Johan disappointed, he's grumpy.
Yeah, Kristoffersen does not look too pleased about that at all. We know he wasn't in the best mood earlier, and this is not going to have helped that. But they are still, I mean, very highly likely to go through. They got P2 in their qualification early, and they've got P3 now. So, yeah, that will basically absolutely guarantee them to go through. Yeah, I think, well, we'll take a look now. We can have a look at the qualifying points and see. There it is. So 18 points at the top. So if you remember, literally the first lap of that race, there were 3 teams on 16 points. You now got Cooper on 18, 16 for X44 and 14 for RXR. Cars coming back to the paddock. We are going to head down to the command centre and we can speak to Cristina Gutierrez, teammate, of course, to Fraser McConnell for X44. High fives all round. Cristina, great job. You guys needed that. It's a brilliant performance, and that will see you into the grand final.
Yeah, for sure. I think we had a very tough yesterday. I think all the team deserve it, and we are very focused on the start, and we need it. We need it. We will work for it, and we deserve it. Finally, we take the first place, and this is important for the team. You were happy with your run? It looked great off the start, like really assertive, got the positions you needed. Yeah, for sure, I'm happy. I was studying a lot before, trying to understand how it's going to happen, but you never know, and I will keep focus on one option, and I go for it totally, 100%. Well done, good drive. We'll see you in the final. Thank you so much.
And let's take a look at those results from qualifying 2, Heat 1. Andretti, unfortunately, down there in 5th place. Carl Cox Motorsport in 4th. Rosberg X Racing at 3rd. Cooper in 2nd. And a wonderful win for X44 Vida Carbon Racing. Extreme E's race locations are chosen carefully based on the story they tell about climate change. In 3 seasons, the championship has travelled to the likes of Greenland, reporting on melting glaciers, Senegal to spotlight rising sea levels, and Neom in Saudi Arabia to highlight desertification. This round, we're racing in Sardinia, which has experienced a summer of soaring temperatures, causing wildfires to rage across the island. This is not only isolated to Sardinia, it is a problem that is plaguing the whole planet.
Over the last year or so, wildfires have become an extremely potent symbol of climate change, and we're seeing them across all parts of the planet. And we've got to ask ourselves the question, how we reached this point. Humans have raised CO2 values 50% above their pre-industrial level. When it comes to CO2 concentrations, a 50% increase in that span of time is unprecedented in the Earth's history. The increased concentrations of carbon dioxide have led to rising temperatures and records being broken all across the world in all of the continents. In July this year, 21 of the 30 hottest days ever recorded occurred. And to top that, July 2023 was the hottest month on record. As a result of these statistics, the UN now refers to the condition as global boiling rather than global warming. These records that we're seeing in temperatures lead to extreme heat and drought, and that, together with enhanced evaporation, creates the perfect conditions for wildfires. It's very likely that we're just seeing the very start of this phenomenon. Predictions are for a 14% increase in wildfires by 2030 and a 50% increase by 2100. The devastation that accompanies any one of those fires is barely imaginable. The loss of biodiversity, productive agricultural land, residential areas, impacts on human health, impacts on air quality, and of course, probably most cruelly of all at the global level, the release of CO2, further CO2 into the atmosphere. Wildfires are one hell of a wake-up call for us to pull together, to come to our senses, to sort things out. And there's no question the race is on, and we've got to look to all sorts of measures to get those solutions in place fast. Sporting frontiers achieve the impossible quite regularly. That's why we tune in and watch things. We watch records being broken. But we've got very special records to break now, and those records are bound up with the effort that we've got to put in to sorting things out.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Island X Prix. Qualifying round 2, heat 2 is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
Right then, let's look at the grid for qualifying round 2, heat 2. We've just got 4 cars for this race, and there is Molly Taylor for Veloce. But it's going to be a great one. We've already had some great racing today. And in terms of who's lining up, we've got the R.08 Sainz for Acciona Sainz first. We then have Veloce, who really need to win this one, and Molly Taylor is taking the turns first in that car. And then we have got Andreas Bakkerud for JBXE. And then on the end, it is Sorensen for GMC Chip Ganassi Racing. And it's going to be something special.
All eyes on those lights then. Molly Taylor here needs a brilliant start. A lot of wheels been off the line. Everybody's used their hyperdrive. R.08 Sainz went late with the hyperdrive. We saw that worked earlier on. Taylor putting a squeeze on Sainz on the inside line. Everybody jumping together sideways in the background. Backward, looks like he might have edged it. Shuts the door across. Taylor gets fired. Oh no! All the way off the side of the road. That is exactly what Veloce didn't need. Sorensen trying to make a pass. That's Taylor on the handbrake, getting the car back on. Maximum attack now. She's got to get back to the pack. Sorensen has managed to get past R.08 Sainz. Andreas Bakkerud leads for JBXE.
Oh, commentators curse or what? We were just talking to Hansen about how they needed to win or get a P2 maybe to scrape through to the grand final. And Molly Taylor's going to be so disappointed with that.
She needs them to get into a scrap up front. If they get into a fight up front, she can get back to the pack. At least when you're driving on your own, you can set your own pace. They're not that far back, a couple of waypoints back. Look at the background, there it is. So it is going to need to be absolutely maximum attack from Molly Taylor to give Kevin Hansen a slightest chance of having a crack at this. Bakkerud leads, he's going to want to edge out a lead for his teammate Heather Hozos, who's going to be taking over. And R.08 Sainz, of course, Sainz can afford to keep this safe if she wants to. They had a P1 in the previous session, so she can take that third if she wants. I mean, they'd like to be further up, but I don't think they really need to risk it.
Yeah, definitely not. Better to be safe through to the grand final later to try and absolutely nail this weekend and get another maximum 25 points in the actual championship standings in the main event later.
Now, we'd looked actually at the maths and we'd figured out that there was an order these cars could have finished in that would have put 5 cars on 14 qualifying points. And at that point then it goes down to the Continental Traction Challenge. Now at the moment that is led by RXR. They would have been one of the teams on 14 points. But of course these drivers can be gunning for the traction challenge as well. So yeah, it's there's a lot to play for. Tamara Molinaro is on site for us. Tamara, that's a shocker of a start for Molly Taylor, but her and Kevin will get after it, won't they?
Yeah, for sure. They are really, really strong team, so I'm sure they'll find a way to make it work.
We're on board with Taylor now. You can see the inputs in the car, a little bit of understeer on the way into the corner, and then got on the throttle pedal and a bit of oversteer on the exit. Andreas Backerud has edged out a nice lead here of 4.19. Hedda Hozos will need to keep the door shut, and you know she's going to have R.J. Anderson, Matthias Ekström and Kevin Hansen breathing down her neck, so it will be a lot of pressure for her, but I know the young Norwegian will be up for that. She had a great scrap last time here with Timo Scheider.
Yeah, she's been quite good about defending and hanging on to those. But JBXE coming into this, they did really need to get first or second place. Look, going down the left-hand side line there. The right-hand side line is the one that Veloce tend to like, but I don't think we're going to see them taking that in a second.
Right, if they felt the lap time would be different for it, they might as well risk everything. But I'm with you, it is a riskier line. It's bumpier, you know, you're crossing over 3 or 4 washed-out gullies. Lovely clean screen for Backward. He comes in with the wipers on, and look at that, straight through, no problem at all on the exit. Those are the flags showing you where they are. Veloce are now 19 seconds back. So, they've stopped. This is gutting.
Just trying to do that reset again.
Molly Taylor stopped out on track. More issues with the car. Kevin said they were disappointed earlier on today. I'm disappointed for them. They were in the championship fight, remember. And unfortunately, I think this might drop them out of it. They were third in the standings, 8 points off the back of Rosberg X Racing, who were 18 points off the back of Acciona Sainz. Might be 19 now, I think, with Sainz's race win in the last session.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, but look at Laia Sanz. She's really going for it, isn't she? She doesn't need to win this, but I mean, they'll always want to. They'll always want to put in an absolutely epic performance going into the last one. And also, they're going to probably want those points from the Continental Traction Challenge. They just missed out on them yesterday. They want those 2 extra points. It does make a difference to the overall standings. Every point counts, and look at it at the moment. RXR up there, just 0.3 seconds behind, was X44 Vida Carbon Racing, and then Abt Cooper, who are actually having, by all accounts, an unbelievable weekend. That partnership between Clara Anderson and Seb Loeb is seeming to do really well. Look, they're slowing down now, goes down to 30 miles an hour as they go into the switch zone. Backerud has got a decent, oh, we're going to have a look at the replay of the start as they go into the switch, and Hedda Hozos is waiting there. Let's have a look at this.
So this was the start, the run for the first goal. I want to see what happens to Molly. So she comes down here. Does she have contact with Acciona Sainz, or was it just a bad bounce off the jump? No problem there. Maybe the tiniest bit of contact as
little nudge.
Yeah, as Laia rotates the car into the corner, but nothing that you would say. Let's ride on board, listen in. No, we're not getting audio from the car, so it's hard to tell if there's a clunk. Yeah, there. It's nothing, but look at the amount of water there is in the braking zone down, meaning it's slippery, and the slightest little nudge when you're already on the limit of traction, and the momentum from the car will just take you off the side of the road. So that's very disappointing for Molly Taylor. And they are some 2 minutes down now with that reset problem. So the car is going again. They're going to drag it round if they possibly can, but they're not going to make it through. And will that be the end of their championship challenge? Andreas Backerud heads back to the command centre. Hedda Hozos is in the car. These are the points as we stand. Oh, wow. Right, so if Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing could nick the Continental Traction Challenge from RXR, they would make it through to the final. So we don't know, obviously, what the times are. Bear in mind, it's both drivers, and we know that Arlen Kotlinski and Kristoffersson are a class act, but Sorensen and R.J. Anderson will be aware that that is the tie-break. They could, of course, also make a pass on the car in front, and that would secure them enough points to go through. So this is very close indeed.
Yeah, and anything can happen. We saw yesterday that cars were out in front. There was a slow zone, and then other people overtake. And the water jumps, the Aqua Grandes that have been introduced for this course, really can play havoc. And cars can stop. They can have a technical issue. They can have a mechanical. So it is definitely always worth the cars carrying on, even if they are quite far behind. But Hozos currently in the lead. At the moment, the camera is on Ekström for Acciona Sainz.
If Acciona Sainz at the minute are qualified for the final, so if Chip Ganassi Racing pass RXR, that will demote RXR potentially to the redemption race, meaning the only one of the championship front runners that would be in the final would be Acciona Sainz. So it's all on that Continental Traction Challenge well, unless they can catch the car in front. R.J. Anderson is good. What's the gap? Let's keep our eyes. 5.5 is the gap. That may be 5.2. So he's taken 3/10 off in that last sector. So RJ Anderson is hunting down Hedda Hozos. If he can get past her, it might put them in the final, but crucially, it might put RXR out of the final here and give Acciona Sainz a huge lead heading into the final round to Chile in December. So this is crucial, and RXR can't do anything. They're just having to...
Sainz has stopped.
Acciona Sainz has stopped out on track. Oh, no. Reset for Ekstrom. Championship leaders in serious trouble. Matthias Ekstrom resetting the car. Veloce are still going. All to play for then. All to play for here. Oh, sideways for RJ Anderson. So if Acciona Sainz don't get in, then in that case RXR and Chip Ganassi Racing might go through. So I think we're going to have to stop talking about points and just watch some great racing.
I was going to say, Andrew, we're trying to do all the maths as we go, but who knows what this ladder is going to end up looking like. But we do know the hostess is trying to hang on to that lead. But I mean, look, Anderson is absolutely... It's only 2.3 second gap now. And Molly Taylor there...
Steering's gone. You can see from the way she's trying to muscle the car in. The steering's gone on the Veloce machine. She's coming into the switch zone now to hand over. There is Laia Sands is gutted. This could now mean that RXR might close the gap in the championship points, assuming they make the final. But I say, I think with the Sainz machine stopped out on track, it's much more likely that RXR will, because they're now going to get a very low score, and they were ahead in terms of qualifying positions.
But this is not a no-brainer. Acciona Sainz still may well go through. Oh, and a yellow. Yeah, slow zone here.
So 30 kilometres an hour through here. RJ Anderson is now within attacking distance of Hedda Hozos. He's 1.1 second back as they came in. It's in the Continental Traction Challenge, so they can't attack for that. But I say, you can tear up what we said 2 minutes ago, thanks to the wildness of Extreme. Poor Matthias Ekstrom. This is one of those things which is so disappointing when you're a driver. Oh my goodness me, they got it!
No way!
They must have got that then with the lap time of Sorensen on the first lap. So Anderson must have been quick enough already. So they've nicked it off RXR, and that would have been enough to knock RXR out of the final.
And it can't be beaten now because it's a slow zone through the Continental Traction Challenge. Also, I really think RJ Anderson is going to want to put in an absolute shift on this one, because he didn't quite understand the comms yesterday, and he didn't go fast enough when there was a slow zone.
Jess, at the minute, showing Acciona Sainz getting 6 points for 10.86. That would be a P3.
Which puts RXR out still.
Unless Veloce get past them. So if Veloce finish, then Acciona Sainz wouldn't make it and RXR would. So there's still a lot to play for. The Veloce machine is still going. Kevin Hansen is muscling it round. He doesn't know that if he gets round, that might be the difference between whether or not RXR get in. So much to play for here. It's just crazy. But meanwhile, up front, Hozos trying to defend. RJ Anderson goes cross-country through the bushes up the inside line. RJ Anderson makes the pass as Hedda Hozos desperately uses the Anoa hyperdrive to try and hold him off. But the Hummer EV Chip Ganassi racing machine is getting a snag, an extra couple of qualifying points coming through, and potentially a championship point as well. They're on the last lap. It's a jump to victory for GMC Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing, overtaking a couple of flags from the end of the race. One championship point, a couple of extra qualifying points, and we'll bring you that ladder as soon as we can to see who's made it. But it might depend on Veloce. Are they going to get past? Is that going to move them up in terms of the standings?
They
go up into third. So that might put RXR in, and Ekstrom won't know that either. As soon as we've got those points, we'll bring them to you.
Woo, no one told me it'd be quite like this in the commentary box, Andrew.
Like maths,
no,
you know?
I know. No one told me I need my maths GCSE, whipping that out.
Oh, RXR are back in, and Acciona Sainz are out. So that would mean that RXR are going to score big here, and Acciona Sainz are not. And we might go to Chile with a serious championship fire in our hands. Ekstrom is gutted. Carlos Sainz is gutted after what was looking like a perfect weekend. It's all gone wrong. Oh.
What a shame for Acciona Sainz. Oh, you can't help but feel for them in this situation. I mean,
like the Veloce thing so much so that they could have pulled that car over and gone, we're out, forget it, we're not going to make it. But instead, they're muscling it round and bypassing the car on track now. Even if they retire now, they're ahead. Now we've got an investigation for RJ Anderson. It'll be for the contact here. So, okay, under investigation. It was assertive. Here's what I'm going to say. I wouldn't say it necessarily wasn't on. Here's another angle. Watch him dive off to the right. It's a great move. They've seen this earlier. Trying to sneak up the inside line. Oh, we're going to go and have a catch-up with Laia Sands, who I know is going to be really disappointed in the command centre. Laia, I'm so sorry. I hope you can hear us. I'm so sorry. You must be bitterly disappointed. Still a really strong weekend. You're still in championship contention, but that's a bit gutting.
Yeah, especially because it's not our fault. I think it's like a joke, the water splash, because at the end it's a bit a lottery with the cars. The car stopped. We were doing a great job yesterday, and also today we were strong. And it's a pity that we cannot go into the final because of the car stop.
Laia, we're really sorry, all right? Well done for yesterday. Keep your chins up. It's going to be a great championship fight at the end of the year. We know you guys will be going for it. So, yeah, keep that smiley face. Well done.
Thank you.
A really disappointed Laia Sainz then. You can understand why. So let's look at the qualifying Heat 2 results. McLaren, of course, they're down in 5th. They did not start, and it did not finish for Acciona Sainz in 3rd, Veloce in 2nd, JBXE, and with a great win, it's Chip Ganassi Racing who take 1st place.
So that's qualifying complete, and that allows us to take a look at the standings at the end of it. It's top qualifier for Abt Cooper with Loeb and Anderson. Chip Ganassi Racing P2, X44 in P3, JBXE into the grand final in P4, but crucially, RXR are in and Acciona Sainz are out. And that's really because Veloce finished the race, nicked a couple of qualifying points off them, and then, of course, with the drawed score decided by the Continental Traction Challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's have a look at how it's going to look for the grand final redemption race then. So, in redemption, you've got well, McLaren won't be running, but you've got Andretti out to Keeler, you've got Veloce, you've got Carl Cox Motorsport, and Acciona Sainz will be after crucial points.
Yeah, Acciona Sainz need to win that one, and of course, how much damage can RXR do, having made it through to the grand final? Well, all going off in Extreme E, but also all going off with this fantastic competition, which is on site with us.
Yeah, this is eExplorer, electric motorbikes. Looks like quite a lot of fun, and they are having one of their rounds here on the Sardinian course this weekend. What a great situation to be in, to have 2 electric motorsports going on at the same time, and it's male and female teams as well, just like Extreme E.
Yeah, a lot of similarities. One of the differences, they do appear to be able to fly slightly higher, don't they, like as high as the drones on the bikes. We haven't managed to get an Odyssey 21 to do that quite yet. The Gravity team won yesterday's round, which I believe has set them up for a championship showdown today. Their riders are Chiara Fontanesi and Camille Chapelier. So yeah, good mix of riders and nationalities, as you say, split of male and female as well. And Laura Winter, as always, was down on the ground and heading off and learning about a new motorsport, and she went and caught up with Chiara Fontanesi. So yesterday's winning rider, one of them for the Gravity squad.
Alongside the Extreme E paddock, we also have eExplorer here for the very first time, sharing this brilliant course in Sardinia. And one of their superstar riders joins me now, Chiara Fontanesi of Gravity, winners yesterday. How much are you enjoying getting out there?
Well, it's really nice to be here, honestly. It's a great place, and especially to be here with Extreme E, it's something, very, very cool. We won yesterday, so that was amazing. I mean, it's something very new to me. I'm not used to that kind of track because I come from motocross and there's concrete blocks and things like that. So it's always very tricky, but in the end we managed to win. The win was tight, but seems like today we are a bit faster in the lap time. So hopefully we can keep that little gap and see what happens.
So you're adapting pretty well to the extreme conditions that we enjoy out here in Sardinia.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something really, really nice. Yesterday it was so hot, but and it was a big, long day, but yeah, it's cool. It's cool, and it was amazing to be on the Extreme E podium and have riders giving us the trophy. It was really, really nice.
Are you tempted to get in one of the Odysseys? One of the cars?
I would love, honestly, I know Laia, and I would love to do a lap with her, so hopefully we can do this one day.
Yeah, we'd love that. Thank you so much, Chiara. Best of luck to you for this weekend as well. Championship decider, of course, this weekend. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to hear all about eExplorer there. Love hearing about any new electric racing. And talking about electric racing, this is the Zenith Dream Team. The fastest man and the fastest woman today was Johan Kristoffersson and Christina Gutierrez. Look at those times, and that would be your fastest team if you got to pick the best times from today. And what a team that would be. But next, let's go over to Laura Winter, who's been with Tanner Faust from McLaren.
Well, what a qualifying we have just seen. My goodness me, 2 chaotic races just there. Acciona Sainz, championship leaders, are out despite the buffer they came into today with. It could be a different story come the end of today's final. Chip Ganassi, they are through despite a 10-second penalty for R.J. Anderson, and RXR have scraped through just based on their Continental Traction Challenge time. Tanner Faust, what do you make of it all?
I mean, it just shows you can't afford to have a single thing go wrong in qualifying. It is just so tight between all 10 teams, well, 9 teams today.
Sorry.
Yeah, and sorry, Emma. But really incredible, and there's quite so many more points available in the final than the redemption race that this could make for a really tight championship at the end of the year.
Yeah, we really could see the championship swing today. It all comes down, of course, to the final round in Chile. That is in December. Tanner, thanks very much. We'll be hearing more from you a bit later on. That's it for qualifying. We've got 2 brilliant finals to come.
Well, one of our drivers taking part in those brilliant finals, of course, is Molly Taylor, who's driving for Veloce. She was the Season 1 champion alongside Johan Kristoffersson, and her mum has competed in motorsport as well. But from a fair few years before, she had a catch-up with her mum on a FaceTime call about how attitudes have changed in motorsport.
I'm Molly Taylor, and I race for Veloce Racing in Extreme E. Competing in Extreme E has taken me to some incredible locations all over the world, and some incredible racing from the deserts of Saudi Arabia to ice caps in Greenland, but it hasn't always been like this. My mum started rallying in the 1970s, and her experience has been quite different than mine. Hello?
Hello?
What time is it over there?
8:06 p.m.
Oh, it's almost your bedtime.
Me? I'm the night owl. You're the early to bed.
What year was your first rally? Because I know you were 18, right? But I'm going to...
1979, Molly.
1979. 70s.
Yes.
But you're still competing in the Australian Rally Championship today. So I think that's a record for the longest career span of anybody. What are the biggest changes that you've seen in terms of equality and female participation and the female experience in motorsport?
The media, for me, are the biggest thing, because one of the first major interviews I did was for an article in the Sydney Morning Herald. And that was that famous headline, you know, Australia's fastest housewife. The only difference with the media at the service area coming up and asking Neil how the last stage went, and asking me whether a mother should be involved in a risky sport. So it was quite different. It isn't so much the gender issue from a capability point of view. It's purely the exposure to it.
When we did the WRC Academy, or the junior WRC, I definitely remember overhearing some of my competitors laughing at another competitor saying you got beaten by a girl, using that as a way to embarrass this driver when we were all kind of fighting for the same thing. And it wasn't until seeing that I realised what you've done for me. You've taken away that question in my mind whether or not it's something I can or can't do, because I see you there living it. You've won 4 Australian championships, the Australian Hall of Fame. It's pretty incredible achievements as well. Is that something that you thought was going to be possible when you started?
No, not at all. If you had said to me back then, you will win an Australian championship, not just a state championship, I wouldn't have believed it. Would not have believed it. But you know, you used to be known as Coral's daughter, and now I'm just known as Molly's mum, so you win.
So watching the growth of Extreme E, what do you think the impact is that it's having on future participation for females in motorsport?
You know, there's only so many positions available at the top end of any category of motorsport, and the fact that Extreme E has got the world's best drivers, but 50% of the drivers are female, has now given the opportunity for all of those women to be competing at the top of motorsport in the world.
Right. This is grid play, where they get to choose, basically, where they're starting on the grid. And those who are not in the grand final, they give their votes that they've got from the audience, from you people, you fine people at home, to give them to someone who is racing. And then they get to choose based on that. Bit of a popularity contest going on, so it's always good to be liked.
Yeah, and then it comes down to popularity in the paddock, and that means nobody, certainly Acciona Sainz, for instance, are not going to give their vote to RXR because they want them to have a worse grid slot. So yeah, it's a bit of fun.
Yeah, and Abt Cooper there went for the middle. We kind of expected them to go for the inside line in lane 5, but they went for 3.
That may well be that they think there's better traction or a smoother run from slot number 3 down to turn 1, or that they feel the inside is a little bit too tight. Lots of different ways to make that decision. So yeah, there is your grid lined up. RXR actually ended up 1 from the inside, not too bad. So coming towards crunch time for round 8. Acciona Sainz haven't made it through to the final. RXR have. How much damage are RXR going to do to that championship lead? Are we going to go to Chile with a super tight championship fight? Here we go then, Sardinia, redemption race and the final coming up for round 8 of Extreme E 2023. It's been another brilliant weekend of action here, a double header on the Italian island. Yesterday, Acciona Sainz won. Today, it hasn't gone their way. They just missed out on a spot in that grand final. Their championship rivals, RXR, are in, and it has just been absolutely brilliant. Stunning scenes here, high temperatures still, 36, 37 degrees today, a bit hotter than it was yesterday. Here's some of the action. Yesterday's was absolutely bonkers. There was just mud everywhere, mud on screens, bits falling off cars. This morning, things started off a little bit more sensibly by Extreme E standards. There was a win for Abt Cooper at JBXE, coming through in P2 for that one. Acciona Sainz as well, we're having another brilliant run. Look at this, 0.06 of a second to take the win over RXR. Steal another championship point and edge that gap up to 19 points. That's what it is at the minute. It was 4 when they came here, 18 ahead after yesterday, 19 now, but as we already mentioned, things didn't go their way, unfortunately, later on in qualifying. X44 having a great run there, and then you'll see things started to unfold. Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing, nicely done. All good action. Slippery down into turn 1 still.
In each of the locations where it races, Extreme E engages with the local community to understand their battles with climate change and looks at what can be done to help tackle the specific issues levelled at each. And here in Sardinia, wildfires are forming a sobering part of everyday life for the island. Extreme E took its drivers to the Sardinian Forest Service helicopter operating base in Pula, which has proved vital in supporting fire crews tackling wildfires across the island.
So we're here at one of the rapid response units for wildfires. So here is the province around Cagliari. This is where they're going to have the rapid response from. So they get a call in the building behind us, they get kitted up in the helicopter, in the trucks and off to the fires to try and put them out before they spread into big fires. And then we're going to be having a go and trying to simulate a response unit ourselves. I'm sure it's not going to be as neat, but it'll be really cool to understand it from their side.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
And when I arrive the call, in 5 minutes, we have to go to the helicopter, go up and go to the fire.
So today we learned how they get into the helicopter in 5 minutes. Don't worry, I'll protect you, okay? There are more than 7 stations like this. They've had to increase their efficiency to get to the fires as quickly as possible. I mean, 1,000 fires is almost 3 fires per day. I mean, they're exposed to a lot of danger every single day. We also learned from Vodafone how they use virtual reality to learn how to combat fires and get used to the situation.
Vodafone Business have been working with Extreme E to tackle climate change. So what we have is a virtual reality headset, allows firefighters to do training ultimately across different training scenarios. And those training scenarios are typically those scenarios which are costly or hard to replicate, but also the training can be recorded as well, so they can watch it back at a later date.
The Mediterranean's been pinged as a global hotspot of wildfires, and within the Mediterranean itself, Sardinia is pretty much central. And not surprisingly, given the vegetation, given heat waves and so on, wildfires are a tremendous problem. It's an extraordinary measure of success that climate scientists aren't the only ones telling the story anymore. This morning we've had our famous racing drivers, our best ambassadors here, engaging with the firefighters, talking to them and learning about the intricacies of climate change Over the last few years, we've combated wildfires in our own way with MedSea Foundation, through planting trees, through looking at the impact it has on local businesses like beekeepers. But we also wanted to come to this fire station with Corpo Forestale to tell the story of the people on the ground combating these wildfires.
It's a convergence of sport, of government, of business, and that's the sort of thing that we need really to resolve climate change, and this sort of cooperative effort will see us on the right track.
We're taking another look back at a start from earlier on today. So Veloce really desperately needed a good run, and unfortunately that tiny bit of contact for Molly Taylor at the start, and it was tiny and certainly not intentional between her and Acciona Sainz, just put enough momentum in the car to pitch it off the side of the road. So Laura Winter's been down the paddock. She's had a catch up with Molly and also with Timo Scheider.
Our redemption race next up in a windy, hot Sardinia. Veloce Racing unfortunately finding themselves in that one last chance to get a smattering of points. Molly Taylor alongside me. Molly, talk to me about what happened in qualifying too, because you were off the start and suddenly off the track.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough Q1, having the electrical issue with the car shutting down. So yeah, we really had to you know, win or at least be second in the quali 2, and just had some wheel-to-wheel contact with Leia off the start, which was unfortunate. But then, you know, we were actually gaining quite a lot of time after that, and then the power steering died. I tried to recycle the car, then it wouldn't restart when I was trying to recycle it, and eventually got it to restart, but the power steering there was still no power steering, so then we just had to nurse it back and get to the finish. But yeah, it's just been a really unfortunate morning for us, because yeah, when it's going well, it's going really well, but sometimes in motorsport there's all these things you can't predict. So anyway, we've got a fresh race ahead of us, so we'll put our heads down, we never give up, and we'll keep fighting on that one.
Yeah, from the high of yesterday to now, fingers crossed there's something left there in the redemption race for you. Thanks, Molly. Best of luck to you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. We're going to head next door now to Carl Cox Motorsport. A really unfortunate situation for them as well with car issues. They found themselves into the redemption race as well. Timo Scheider just in the back of the garage here. I'm going to come and sit alongside him. Very lucky to get a seat in some of these garages. Timo, just studying the starts here. That's all important, isn't it, Timo? What are you looking at here? What are you thinking about?
Well, actually, we've been super strong this weekend doing our starts. That's a very crucial point in Extreme E. So I've been analyzing that over and over. So, of course, you are going from most of the time different starting spots. So it's always very important to analyze that freshly and good. And we have one more race to come. So for sure, we want to go best.
And very quickly, how proud are you to be working, driving, racing alongside Leah at just the age of 16?
Well, I was super proud to convince her and her mom to come here over to Extreme E. I think that was a very special move for myself and for the family as well, and for Extreme E on top of it. So to race with a 16-year-old is a different challenge, I can tell. But she is so talented. She's so cool. She's so relaxed. Of course, she has a lot to learn. She's just 16, but that's why we are here. I try to support her as much as possible. She's such a lovely person, and I think she has a bright future.
She's got a great mentor as well. Timo, thank you very much. Best of luck to you. Redemption race coming up very soon.
The island.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Island Prix. The redemption race is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
Carlos Sainz, head down. Spoiler coming in, if you're an F1 fan, you might want to switch off for the next 3 seconds. You should be feeling pretty pleased because Carlos Sainz Jr. won in Singapore. So yeah, sorry if that spoiled the race for you. I did tell you could switch off. We've got our own races to go with here. This is the big event, not in Singapore. The big event is in Sardinia. Some proper off-road, dirty, door-to-door contact, jump-ridden motorsport. Extreme E, round 8. We're coming up to championship crunch time. And we've got some people in this race who really did not want to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the redemption race. And, well, Acciona Sainz. Carlos Sainz, obviously, he's been having a good weekend so far, but this is not what they would have wanted. And they will be starting on the inside lane in lane 5, with Matthias Ekstrom going first, hoping for as maximum points as they can get in this. Then you've got Carl Cox Motorsport in lane 4. Then in lane 3, a desirable lane as well, is Veloce Kevin Hansen going first there. And Timmy Hansen alongside him for Andretti Autokilit.
Yeah, interestingly, if you saw grid play a few moments ago, Sebastian Loeb for the final got first pick for App Cupra and picked lane 3. So what do they know about lane 3 that we don't? It might be traction, it could be really smooth and groomed in front of it. So maybe Veloce are going to get a great launch from there. This is damage limitation. Could be 2 points if it goes the right way. It could be 23 points if it goes the wrong way for Acciona Sainz, and that depends on RXR's result as well. The pressure is on.
15 seconds.
All about points in this one, and then we've got the grand final coming up, and that, of course, will tell us just what that gap's going to be when we head down to Chile. Are we going to be in for a thriller at the final couple of rounds in December?
Well, we know they're all going to be going hard for it.
They certainly are off the line. A lot of wheel spin immediately. We've got 3-4 cars using it. Scheider went really late. Kevin Hansen for the Veloce team over the jump in the middle. 4 cars side by side, or a bit sideways from Ekstrom. He's going to back out of that. That's sensible. Whole shot for Kevin Hansen. So Kevin Hansen gets through, and then Timo Scheider alongside and managing to squeeze through the gap, in fact. So Timo Scheider gets in front of Timmy Hansen. And Matthias Ekstrom at the back of the pack. At the minute, this is worst case scenario for Acciona Sainz, but I think Ekstrom did the right thing. Never panic is the key. He had a big moment over the jump, he straightened it out, now he's got to start picking people off. But these are some seriously quick drivers to get past.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to keep that car in as good a nick as possible, because anything can happen in these races, which we've already seen across round 7 and 8 so far. And also on your left-hand side on the screen there, McLaren are not in this race. They have not started because, unfortunately, they're not taking part today because of too much damage to the car, which has taken place over the weekend. We do send our best wishes to Emma Gilmore and Tamara Molinaro, who both took tumbles this weekend. But yeah, it's just a 4-car race. And at the moment, one of the Hansen brothers for Veloce Racing is steaming ahead. Carl Cox is very dirty behind.
Timmy Hansen ran into the back of Carl Cox a few corners back. Not hard, but it cost him exit speed. In the background, Acciona Sainz are going slowly. They're 10 seconds back down the road. Wait for Acciona Sainz in the background. 10 seconds. Is it just wipers or is it another tech issue?
Oh, it's 12 seconds now.
Oh, it comes through. So they're still going. Ekstrom is still going, but as Jess said, it's gone up by another 2 seconds.
And 2 again. We're at 14 seconds now on the
Disaster.
pace. Yeah, this is absolutely not what Acciona Sainz were hoping for. This is worst case scenario, to be honest, at the moment for them. They absolutely smashed it yesterday in round 7.
Right, the left wiper's gone. That's the problem. The left wiper is off. This is exactly what Veloce had yesterday. Listening in as well, I'm not sure everything is right with that car, but the left wiper, and remember this is a left-hand drive car, Ekstrom's visibility is seriously hampered. He is 22 seconds back, and this is worst case scenario. They might score only 2 championship points in the redemption race, in which case RXR can close the gap by 23. At the minute, it's 19 points. Wow. How a weekend can turn around.
I was just about to say that. Your luck can change in Extreme E, literally in the blink of an eye. They were flying so high, even this morning.
Blink of an eye or the wipe of a wiper, it seems, doesn't it? It was pretty, it's the same yesterday for Veloce. And you know what? It's somehow in off-road motorsport, wipers, which of course are on pretty much every single car with a screen in the world, but somehow that we just managed to break them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's be honest, we're not nice. You know, you know when someone says, look, you should look after your things. Off-road motorsport is not renowned for looking after your things, and certainly these drivers are only interested in one thing, which is the fastest time possible. At the minute, that is very much Kevin Hansen, who's getting the job done for Veloce. I'm just thinking, how far back are Veloce in the standings?
Well, I was actually just about to bring that up, Andrew, because they are 3rd in the overall championship standings with 110 points, behind RXR with 118. So if they get max points here, which is 8 points in this redemption race, they would go up to 118 points, and they'd close that gap a bit on Acciona Sainz, who might only get 2 points here.
Yeah, every single point counts. They've got to go for it, just because looking at today, like you say, yesterday they nearly scored max points, and then they got 27, two qualifying wins. Look at Ekstrom, look at Ekstrom's screen.
Can't see.
You can see the wipers just smashed to bits. Look at his head tilted across to the right-hand side. Funny enough, when the car's sideways in a corner like this, you'll be able to see better because you're looking through that side of the screen. But it's an absolute nightmare. They're out of this. They're 34 seconds back. They're never coming back from that. All they can hope is maybe somebody retires and they get one more point. But this is worst case scenario.
Yeah, and we have seen all sorts of things happen though so far this weekend. You get a mechanical, your car can just stop, you need to restart it, you might get tumbled over, you might hit a waypoint flag. There are so many things that can happen in an extreme race, and it all got thrown at us yesterday in the grand final. But we're now in the switch. Veloce go in there first, followed by Scheider. Scheider will be handing over to just 16-year-old Leah Block for Carl Cox Motorsport.
Tamara Molinaro is on site for us in the commentary box. Tamara, that is a disaster for Acciona Sainz. You've got a feel for them.
I know, it's unbelievable. I mean, they had such a high yesterday, and, you know, today really didn't play for them. I feel really, really sorry for them. They're a really, really great team. So, yeah, it's a pity. But, yeah, motorsport is like a roller coaster sometimes. It
is like a roller coaster, isn't it? Just not, you know, not only on track as well. Katie Money's getting into the car. Listen. So Timmy giving Katie a few bits of feedback. She gets the harnesses on around. Matthias Ekstrom is coming in, and he has a look on his face which says this is going to be a tough fight at the final round. Look at that, the wiper is in bits. You can see the rubbers are across to the left-hand side. The mechanical arm isn't moving very much. It's a nightmare.
It's worth saying that all of these cars are exactly the same in Extreme E, and it's just 45 seconds they have here to kind of make any changes if anything's gone wrong as well, isn't it?
I think the thing they'd like to change is the wipers, but unfortunately, as you say, they're all the same. Maybe we should open up the technical regulations on the wipers and let the teams do what they want with them. We'll see some contraptions appearing then. So this is on board. Watch the wiper on the left-hand side of the screen on the 55, the Acciona Sainz machine. Up comes the mud. Just sheer volume of water has just pushed it off the screen. And then look, the heavy mud, there is nothing he can do. And likewise now for R.08. They're going to try and fix it. Go on, get in.
Go on, mate. Oh, he's doing anything he can there with that equipment, isn't he?
There's very limited equipment down in the switch zone. They're allowed to take what tools they want. It has to be catalogue tools, and by that I mean something you or I could buy. They're not allowed to make special tools, for instance, with 5 nuts on to take the wheel off quickly. They can take down certain types of jacks to make the wheel change quicker, but they can't take, you know, special contraptions to try and change things very quickly.
Right, well, we've got some Anoa hyperdrives being used there. Leah Block has just used it maybe to close that gap on Molly Taylor ahead before going in to Aqua Grande, the first of the water jumps on this course in Sardinia. And just look, if you're just behind, you get absolutely drenched.
With the way the wipers are breaking, you're almost better going in with the wiper off and then switching it on, so the volume of... Block loses a position, so she runs a little bit deep on the brakes and loses the position there. Looking back. Oh, look at that, getting roasted. Just look at the difference. You're just waiting for the wipers to clear it. On board with Katie Munnings. Even when they're working, it's still pretty smeared. You know, it would be, but that's a nice pass by Munnings, so she gets up 1 position.
Yeah, she's still got her Anoa hyperdrive. And speaking of that, Sainz, I think, just using the back there, just maybe to try and get any speed at all, but they are 50 seconds off the pace, and it's a bit heartbreaking for Acciona Sainz. You can go from being literally on top of the world, on top of the standings, to then having it all crumble in the matter of seconds, can't you, here in Extreme E?
So Katie Munnings is getting after this, isn't she? She's 6.5, now 6.1. She's taken 4 seconds off Taylor. Katie will be really annoyed with how this weekend's worked out. Some of it, you know, not their fault and just bad luck, but it just hasn't gone their way, and that puts a fire underneath you. You're like, I'm not having this. I want something good. I'm going to fight for it. And she's fighting for it now as they go on to the last lap. The gap was 6.1. What is it as they come over the line? It's 6.0. So Katie is nibbling away at that lead, but it is still quite a big gap, and she's only got 1 lap left now to close it down. Come on, let's go. Come on, Katie.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have still got the Continental Traction Challenge, where they might be after those extra points as well, because every point does matter. But I think they'd really like this just to get some actual redemption, wouldn't they? Oh, it's down to 5 seconds. She is chipping away at that.
4.8. Taylor's still got her Anoa hyperdrive as well, so I reckon both of them will have a crack at the Continental Traction Challenge. You can use it in there to gain some time. There goes Taylor. Now watch for Munnings as she exits the corner. She want to get the car straight and then use it. That's what she does. She waits for it. The gap was 5. It's 4.9, so it's still tight. Look at Katie. You can see herself urging herself on board now with Molly Taylor. She goes through the water splash. Off to the left-hand side of the road. Now Munnings' turn. The gap's still coming down.
Yeah, and I'd love to know what's going on in her ear at the moment, what they're saying to her. Stay calm, push on, I bet. And that was just looking at Leah Block behind, who's having such a great season here.
Gap's gone up just a little bit now, 6.25. Taylor's responded enough. That's just the way the cars go through the water splash. You're right, Leah Block is doing brilliantly. She's going with contenders who've been in these cars for a good couple of seasons. They're very different to other competition cars which are out there. As it stands, you can see over on the right-hand side, that's live team championship points, just 2 points on for Acciona Sainz. Bear in mind, obviously, RXR could still pick up 25 come the grand final, and the Continental Traction Challenge is still up for grabs.
Yeah, it really is all to play for. I mean, it depends where Rosberg X Racing finish in that grand final part. I know who's one team who's going to be watching very closely, and it's this one, Acciona Sainz.
They certainly will be. Molly Taylor, though, for Veloce Racing out front. Katie Munnings has done her best. She's had the gap down under 5 seconds, but Taylor has done a great job with her teammate Kevin Hansen. And Veloce will win the redemption race here in Sardinia for round 8, jumping over the line for the finish. Here comes Katie Munnings for Andretti, out to keel it behind. There we go. Not super celebrations, but they know they've done the best they could do here. P3 in this one for Leah Block and Timo Scheider. Nicely done. But the big story here is that still out on track is Laia Sands, championship leader with Matthias Ekström and Acciona Sainz, and they are going to score only 2 championship points in round 8.
And that grimace tells you everything you need to know about how Laia Sands is feeling about that. She's still got really quite far to go. They really were so far back, and it is such a shame for them. Just 2 points scored from this redemption race. How different it could have been, because in those qualification races, just 1 more point would have meant they were through to the grand final, and that is how cruel but brilliant Extreme E can be.
Yeah, it really did swing, didn't it? The tide turned big time overnight. It was almost too perfect a weekend, wasn't it? Particularly with the results for Sainz Junior, you know, the team, they crossed the line now, but it's just 2 points for Acciona Sainz. Well, there we go. It's called the redemption race for a reason. You get a little bit of redemption. Did it, they won it. We're going to head down to the command centre, and here is the man who's just won it with Molly Taylor, Kevin Hansen. Well done, mate. I know you wanted to win the other race this afternoon. There's Timmy, his brother. But yeah, a win's a win, and you want to go to the final round, don't you? Feeling positive?
Yeah, I mean, this is what we are capable of when we have a good starting slot and things like this. So it felt really nice to have a good launch finally and be first into turn 1, and then just check out and hand the car to Molly in a great position. I mean, it's a shame they put so much water on the track. It's very unfair when we have a great car and we can finally try to go for the traction challenge, but that's Extreme E. So we did what we could. We got a redemption, and I believe, yeah, Sainz had not the best of it. Well, he won the F1, so it's not too bad for him. So he has to go a bit in a balance for Carlos.
Thanks, Kevin. But a safe journey home, mate. We'll look forward to seeing you in Chile for the finale.
See you guys there. Cheers.
So Kevin Hansen and Molly Taylor win the redemption race. Nicely done by them. Just the grand final still to come from Sardinia. Tanner Faust is down in the paddock. I think he's with Laura Winter, so we can head down and catch up with the American driver for McLaren.
Well, what a race that was to kick things off for our finals. Tanner Faust alongside me here in the paddock, and a great win for Veloce, but worst case there for Acciona Sainz in a bid for this title fight. It's going to go to Chile now, just 2 points for them.
I mean, it must be a bittersweet with Carlos here, with his son winning Formula One just moments ago, and now this. It really... it shows, just like you said in the broadcast there, it just shows how quickly you can go from 0 to 0 in this series. Anything can happen, and to have it come down to a $2 wiper is just a shock. It was definitely redemption for Veloce there. I mean, they really needed this, and they still are kind of in the hunt for the points, and it keeps it a 3-horse race going into Chile.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Of course, 8 points for a win in the redemption race. That brings them up to level on terms with RXR as well. We're going to have a 3-way fight coming into Chile, depending, of course, on how RXR get on in the grand final, which eyes will be on. What are your predictions and thoughts ahead of that one?
Really?
Yes.
I gotta predict. I never would have predicted what happened last year. I mean,
you can't predict anything, can you?
Look, RXR, if there's anything that you can give them credit for, is that they come through the chaos smelling a little bit like a rose. So they're somehow able to take the chaos and somehow able to take advantage of it. So if anybody's going to come through everything that we've seen here, then it is going to be RXR. So I do put my money on them.
Okay, and finally, are you finding it very difficult standing here rather than racing
horrible.
out there?
It's horrible. I don't know what you do. No. I mean, it is interesting because the points. Now I can actually pay attention to the points a little bit. I can see exactly the very small changes that happen with every single traction challenge and every single heat. So no, it's fascinating. But yeah, I'd rather have my boots on and be racing.
Oh, we'd rather see you out there as well. But it's next best thing having you alongside me. Thank you so much, Tanner. Grand final coming up very soon.
Take a look at the result then for the redemption race. A DNS, of course, for Tanner Faust tomorrow. Molinaro, McLaren P4. That's a shocker for Acciona Sainz. Only 2 championship points. Carl Cox Motorsport get third. Andretti, Tequila get P2. And the winners of the redemption race for round 8 in Sardinia are Veloce's Kevin Hansen and Molly Taylor. One race left then. Another look at some of the start action. That look at Ekstrom, for me, it went wrong right there at the start as he kicked sideways over the crest and had to gather it up before turn 1, which was the right thing to do. You don't want to roll it into a ball. We saw that yesterday with Molinaro in a similar incident. But, yeah, bit of a shocker. Ended up P4, and then, of course, it went from bad to worse when they hit that water splash and lost the wiper. There we go. That's the way it goes. What is the way that it is going to go in the final race of the day, the grand final from Sardinia?
Few racing teams have packed as many trophies into a shorter space of time than Andretti Global. Led by racing legend Michael Andretti, their passion for winning extends across multiple championships, including partnering with Tequila to go off-road in Extreme E.
Andretti's been involved in a lot of different series over the years, and we're growing more and more. I've always said we're in the business of racing, and it's been our lives. So we're always looking for opportunities to expand, and yeah, it's been going great. We've done well in every series that we've been in, and we continue to want to work towards that. The reason I think we've been successful in all the other series is because, you know, our experience. You learn something from every series, but the basics are still pretty much the same. It's quite simple. Try to get the best people and give them the best equipment to work with.
I think Andretti has always been a pioneer in motorsport when you look back to their roots of how they first got into it through a place of passion and through a place of pure enjoyment for the sport. And I think that really comes out in all of the championships they race for.
The reason we looked at Extreme E was because having a woman and a man driving the same car in the same race and the sustainability side of it, it's unique, so we jumped on it right away.
I think it is just another one of their steps in the kind of way that they work and the way that they operate. They always want to be at the front of technology. They always want to be I guess it's the competitive nature that they have, you know, the Andretti way.
To represent Andretti is like being an off-road driver. It's not something I thought I would do. They're legends of the sport.
Katie and Timmy are just a great pair. I think together they're the best driver lineup.
You're so fat.
Timmy is just a natural talent. You know, he's unbelievable in those type cars. He's very smart the way he approaches it, and he wants to win real bad. Katie is just a dream. I love the way she's constantly studying the films with Timmy and Sardinia. I believe she had the quickest lap overall the weekend. She's come a long way, and it's because of her hard work.
Good job, Katie. Good.
To drive with Katie is fantastic. We've known each other since the beginning, and she's like a sister to me by now. She supports me when things are tough, you know, encouraging me when things are going well, and the other way around as well.
You know, we're the only team that has had the same drivers all the way through from season 1, race 1. So I think for us, something is obviously working, and the way that we're able to share information and work under pressure, we both know each other really well now.
Team spirit here is like we're a family. You know, we've been together for a long time, and when you need to take a risk, you need to know that everyone's got your back, that you can't fail, you can only win.
Timmy Hansen going to pass McConnell.
Obviously our high was winning in Greenland, I think, in the first season. We've had a lot of podiums as a team since. I think we've always been really there on pace, which is great.
The team's running very well, the drivers are doing very well, and I think we're in it to win, and we want to be competitive. So our goal is to be the champion one day.
Here we go then, our grand final fast approaching the last race of what has been a brilliant, eventful, chaotic weekend here in Sardinia in blazing hot temperatures as well. I'm going to take a walk now into the apt Cupra tent. Peeking around through the mechanics, getting the cars ready, of course, to find out what drivers Sebastian Loeb and Clara Anderson are thinking and feeling ahead of this one. Seb next to me here, a brilliant race yesterday, a podium. What's your mindset coming in now?
Yeah, the target is the same, is to aim for a podium minimum, hopefully fighting for the victory. We had good qualifying in the morning. Clara did a great job, so we are ready and we will try to fight.
And Clara, coming to you as well, how much are you enjoying this partnership and fighting out there with Seb?
I enjoy it super well. I think we work good together, very good at the risk management that you need to do in Extreme E, and the pace has been looking really nice, so we're super excited for the final.
And Seb, how important is the start going to be? You guys have got grid slot number 3 right there in the middle.
Yeah, we are in the middle, so it can be tricky to be in the middle, but it seems that the starting from the position 3 was quite good in the last heat, so we decided to choose this one. We'll see, but for sure we will have to fight hard in the first corner, trying to exit in a good position, because it's crucial for the rest of the race.
Clara, coming to you finally, how much would a podium, another one, mean to you two?
It would be super fun. Of course, we had a good result yesterday, and we for sure will want to be up there today again, and it would also be nice to fight for the victory, but let's see what happens.
We shall see what happens indeed. Thank you both very much indeed. Well, here we go then. The grand final is coming up. But right now, sit back, relax and enjoy. We could be in for a fair bit more chaos here in the dirt of Sardinia.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Island Prix. The grand final is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
Prepare to race indeed. RXR, if they win this one, can take the lead in the standings heading down to Chile. P2 with the Continental Traction Challenge even wouldn't be enough, so they need to win it to take the lead. But they won't have their eyes on that. They'll have their eyes on how close they can get to Sainz. I mean, Kristoffersson and Arlen Kotlinski always want to win. But with the worst score possible for Acciona Sainz in the redemption race, the most points possible here for RXR will give us an incredible finale in Chile.
Yeah, absolutely. Sardinia definitely hasn't disappointed. This is how the grand final is lining up. On the inside line, we have got Chip Ganassi and RJ Anderson in the car first. Then in lane 4, you've got RXR, Johan Kristoffersson starting off with them. Then it is the legend, Seb Loeb. In the middle for apt Cupra. Then X44, Vita Carbon Racing. Fraser McConnell is there. And on the edge, it's Header Hostess for JBXE.
So not a bad grid slot for RXR in P2. They're close to that inside line. But inside them is RJ Anderson. He will go for it, definitely. You know, a hyperdrive, we've got used to everybody using that off the start now if you want to get to turn 1 first. Little deep breath for Kristoffersson as he prepares for this. Could be a great comeback after yesterday. Championship leaders only gone one way so far this weekend. What's going to happen now off the line? Good reaction time from everyone except Hozos. Now Hozos uses the hyperdrive as well down towards turn 1. RXR just gets away from the edge of Cupra, so that's Loeb and Kristoffersson on the run to the first corner. Down the outside, Fraser McConnell for X44. Sideways, 3 abreast. McConnell goes around the outside line of the bush, gets the whole shot. In the background, Kristoffersson is level with Loeb just in front now. So Kristoffersson slots into P2, Loeb goes wide, sends it out deep. Can he get something on the exit? He's gone all the way around the outside. He takes the position back, so Kristoffersson drops back to P3. McConnell leads from Sebastian Loeb, Johan Kristoffersson in 3rd.
Woo, that was an absolute Extreme E sandwich. My goodness, McConnell leading as well, and it would mean so much to X44 to take that win today. Fraser McConnell has been so close on so many times. They've just had some bad luck, haven't they? But look behind, it's so close.
RJ Anderson right up behind RXR as well, so the Ganassi Racing Machine is in behind Kristoffersson, now into the water splash. Let's see what they do with the wipers through here. Kristoffersson's gone in with the wipers off and now puts them on, and he's lost a position. So RJ Anderson gets past while the wipers are completely, the screen is totally and utterly covered in mud. sideways through that left-hander. Kevin Hansen was saying it's very wet in the traction challenge. I don't think anyone's going to beat the time from earlier on today. So the 2 points maybe not up for grabs now. Kristoffersen again in behind the Hummer EV. So down into P4, going to try and come up the inside line. He's almost alongside Anderson over the rocks at the edge of the course. Now Kristoffersen looks inside again. No way to pass through here, just a little bit too narrow. That's the view he's got as he's at parking distance behind that Chip Ganassi racing machine. Tanner Faust, this is a great race. I know you wish you were out there, but Kristoffersen's got to do some work here to make some passes.
Oh, they've all been doing work. It shows you how important the visibility is, how much they're fighting just to get in front of that one car in front of them. This first lap is so critical so you can see the second lap, but what a battle.
Oh, Kristoffersen maybe alongside again, just gets the nose up. Now he flicks the car back the other way, get that weight transfer going, see if he can find the traction on the exit. They are using every inch of the track width here. It's a great battle.
Goodness me. I mean, McConaughey is still coming over that first lap. Remember, there are 2 laps to go, and then it is the switch. And oh, look at that!
Off the side of the track, Rosberg X Racing's Kristoffersen is leaving no stone unturned in trying to find a way through. I think he's done it. Goes the long way round, carries that extra speed, having gone over the rocks down the side of the track where Molinaro rolled yesterday. That was a brave move. Now Anderson trying to get back alongside him on the exit. He has the better line now. Nearly side by side again, but he has fought his way through. That was a brilliant pass, Tanner. Amazing.
That's not a place where you can pass usually. So, I mean, literally, Johan is making his own track out there, just as he did in July. But the level is incredibly high in the intensity, and RJ having a hard time even holding on to it.
Yeah, RJ, I think about the spin in the background. Did he manage to hold on? Not proper tank slapper. He did just get hold of it, didn't he? So problems for Anderson. That's given a little bit of breathing space, and again sideways to Johan Kristoffersen. Kristoffersen is some 2.9 seconds off the back of Sebastian Loeb for Abt Cupra. No, he's not. He's already coming towards the back of the Abt Cupra machine. So we say every point counts. If they win this, they take the lead in the standings. But we've got another couple of laps to come yet.
Yeah, I was about to say Kristoffersen and Rosberg X Racing don't usually. Oh, look!
Nearly making the pass again. Abt Cupra just a little bit too sideways. Kristoffersen is there. He's ready to pounce. Tanner Faust said it's pretty hard to pass. Where he passed last time, he said you cannot pass, but somehow Kristoffersen's found a way up again. Watch the amount of track width he uses. The car in front's going defensive. He's able not to, so he goes out wide, comes in tight. We're on board now with him. Up the inside! Done! Up the inside on the way to waypoint 11. Johan Kristoffersen executes another brilliant pass. This is a masterclass from the 5-time World Rallycross champion and, of course, Season 1's Extreme E champion. He's going after every point.
I have absolutely never seen anything like this. I mean, Kristoffersen is making it up. He's making his own course. They do love it in Sardinia. They have won, like, back-to-back the last time we were here, and they are refusing to give this one up. They want those 25 points.
Absolutely brilliant. So here's a look at a replay of it. So this was the first one. There was a tiny bit of contact. He keeps it lit, takes out a bunch of the branding down the side, uses that as a run into the first corner, and then up the inside. Just absolutely fantastic. And the other pass, brilliant as well. Tanner, I mean, we know how good Johan is, but that is just a mark of his class, isn't it? 2 brilliant passes out on track, you know, no contact to speak of, really. Amazing work.
Yeah, you know, the car control is amazing, but that's the same for all of these guys. But having that wherewithal coming through the last few corners to think, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and make my own track here, get an exit out of turn 1, and hopefully capitalize. That kind of forethought and that kind of heads-up driving is something that's really unique.
I heard you saying to Laura you were finding it quite interesting. Obviously, you want to be in the car, but to see it from the outside and see the way the tactics play out, are there learnings from this for you guys to go, right, this isn't a different approach next time or something different to do?
Well, for us, we know we got to keep the tires on the ground to survive the weekend. But yeah, of course. I mean, watching it from this side and being, you know, round 8 of 10, all of a sudden the championship points come into play. But in the car, to be honest, nobody's thinking about championship. Nobody's thinking about points. They're just trying to get ahead of the car right in front of them, and then let the map do its work once you finish the weekend.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing how this plays out now as we see the male drivers handing over to their female counterparts, except for JBXC, where Hedda Hozos will hand over to Andreas Backrud. But Christina Gutierrez leads for X44. Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski 3.1 seconds back for RXR, and just a few seconds behind her is Clara Anderson for Abt Cupra. So little gaps now, a little bit more breathing space. Can Arlen-Kotlinski close the gap on and, even more importantly, pass Gutierrez for the win?
Yeah, really interesting what Tanner was saying there. We're talking about points, we're talking about championship points in here, but it's as simple as that, isn't it? You just want to get in front of the car that's right in front of you, and RXR are not going to give this up. Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski, she is used to being in front here in Sardinia, but she's absolutely going to go for it.
Yeah, she is. Now, she's chasing Gutierrez. We need to put a word in as well for Fraser McConnell. We barely saw him because of what the battle was going on behind, but McConnell took the lead on the first lap for X44 with that brilliant move in the first corner, brought the car home in the lead. Now it's up to Gutierrez. In the background, the App Cooper's got a problem, so they've run a little bit deep on the brakes. Amanda Sorensen going to try and chase down Clara Anderson. Doesn't seem to be a mechanical, but it's all about that gap out front. Seems to be levelling off at about 2.6 seconds at the moment. So Gutierrez, who of course is the reigning champion with X44, that was alongside... Oh, no! Oh, there's a wheel off the front of the JBXC machine. Game over for Andreas Backerud, parked at the side of the track. Second time this weekend they've not made it back, so we didn't see what's happened. We'll see if we can find it on the replays, but done for JBXE.
A real shame there. Backerud did say he was feeling lucky earlier today. And it was looking like a good weekend for them, but out in front with a 2.7 second lead is X44, and God, they'd be putting in a shift to win here today.
They have. Tanner, in terms of what you're telling your teammates now, particularly when you're in the command centre and you're privy to those conversations, what are they saying to Gutierrez? Is it just gap information? Is it keep calm? How do you encourage the driver to give the right performance without taking too many risks?
It's gap information, but you want to give them information that tells a story. So if the gap is growing, you make sure you tell them that, so that they know that whatever they did on that corner, which is usually a nice tidy exit, a good clean exit, is usually what is positive. Here she's defending when maybe she doesn't have to yet, but they're also telling them about grip. So turn 4, 5, 6, where we saw Loeb go wide after the water splash, that's going to be something.
Waypoint slow zone at number 2, which is why they're all down on the 30 kilometre. Tanner Faust, thank you so much for your insight. Much appreciated. Really looking forward to seeing the McLaren team back in Chile. At the minute, the gap would be just 3 points, Jess, if it finishes like this.
Yeah, if it finished like this, Acciona Sainz maybe wouldn't be too disappointed, because there's a whopping 25 points up for grabs if Rosberg win, and then it goes down to 18 points. So, I mean, Acciona Sainz will really be hoping that Rosberg X Racing don't get that first place so that they can maintain their championship lead.
The gap coming into this slow zone was 4.3 seconds, so whatever Gutierrez did through those first sections of the lap was really impressive. Guns it now, releases the full power of the car over the bumps on the exit from waypoint 3, which is where they can start going quick again. Arlen-Kotlinski uses her Inoa hyperdrive here. Notice that Gutierrez has saved it. Now that could be to defend position later on. Gutierrez is looking pretty relaxed behind the wheel. This is a great performance.
Maybe it's that helmet of hers. We heard all about that earlier. She's had it designed at a hospital in Spain with lots of children getting involved. Some really brilliant initiatives. But yeah, look at this on course now. She's looking pretty calm as you can be in this situation, I think.
4.7 the gap now back to Rosberg X Racing. Just a little nip on the handbrake to get the car turned in. You're on board with Arlen-Kotlinski. She's still in attack mode, trying to close the gap down, but it's going the wrong way. 5.6, and now just in behind her, look, is Clara Anderson, who will smell blood. She can see it, and Amanda Sorensen's there as well.
Yeah, and that gap has gone up to almost 7 seconds between Arlen-Kotlinski and Gutierrez, and Anderson is closing on Arlen-Kotlinski. What a drive it will be from her if she does overtake.
Last few corners to go. You can see the finish towers are just tantalisingly there in the distance. Gutierrez has still got that Inoa hyperdrive to use. RXR, I don't think are going to be able to take the championship lead here. The gap is just too much now. Now Gutierrez releases the extra horses. Fraser McConnell did a brilliant job to bring that car to her in the lead, and she brings it home for the second win of the year for X44 Vida Carbon Racing. Rosberg X Racing recover their championship hopes here, taking P2 in round 8. It's going to be a hell of a fight down in Chile, and Apt Cooper get P3. Chip Ganassi Racing super close behind in 4th.
Well, what a race to round off round 7 and 8 here in Sardinia. We've loved it. X44 have loved it even more. Look at that, Gutierrez.
Yeah.
A little shake of the hand. She's really happy with that one. Oh, and also, this means that RXR don't quite overtake Acciona Sainz in the overall standings.
It's so close, though,
yeah,
isn't it? What is
it?
3 points. That means, don't forget, there's a point for each qualifying session race win you get. There's 2 points for the Continental Traction Challenge. There's 25 if you take the win. But look at the road roller coaster this weekend for the various different teams, particularly Acciona Sainz. Almost the perfect day yesterday, almost the perfect disaster today. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it can just happen like that. And a reminder that when we go to Chile in December for the finale, it's 2 rounds. So you've got 2 lots of those whopping 25 points up for grabs. So, you know, you could lose it on day 1 and come back to win it on day 2. And that's why we love this double-header format of both the men and the women equal in the cars, exactly the same cars for all the teams. And they race alongside each other. And my goodness, I'm out of breath, Angie, let alone the drivers. Whew. Let's look at the results then from the grand final.
Yep, grand final results for round A. DNF, unfortunately for JBXC. Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing weren't far behind in 4th, just in front of them, Matt Cupra. RXR, 2nd position, is a brilliant recovery in terms of championship points today. But the winners, their 2nd win of the season, it is X44 Vita Carbon Racing's Fraser McConnell and Cristina Gutierrez. Down to the finish area. Drivers getting out the cars. Teams now starting to think about, I reckon they're just going to be bubbling under, isn't it? I know Kristoffersson and Arlen Kotlinski will be thinking, there's Gutierrez. Yes, that's right, yes. Yes is the word. It's so cool. That special crash helmet that all the kids designed for her as well. Isn't it lovely to see it on the top step of the podium? Just brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Those smiles do not lie, do they? All the female drivers there, congratulating each other. Clara Anderson always with a smile on her face. They've got another podium there. Really looks like she's enjoying her partnership with Seb Loeb, and something is going well. But wow, what a grand final, and what a round here in Sardinia.
Right, another look then at the start action. 4 cars wide. Watch Fraser McConnell here, look. Pitches it in on super slippery conditions. They're 3 wide. He opens the lock just a little bit to carry the exit speed. Knows he's going left of that bush, which we've seen used several times. Doesn't even really defend on the way into waypoint 1 because he's confident enough that he's got enough of a lead to take the racing line. That then gives him a bit of exit speed. Look at Loeb looking out of the side window. That's what you have to do. This was incredible. Went from a moment where it was all going wrong to a pass on the exit. Just fantastic car control from Johan Kristoffersson, and then the pass on Loeb, which I'm really keen to see. Archie Anderson did well to hold on to that. That's catching a wasp in the cockpit, you know, that really is.
I'd be getting car sick from that one. I can tell you that for free.
Yeah, I mean, that was a moment. Look at this, up the inside here of Sebastian Loeb. That's the angle we saw it from. Just, you know, Loeb is class, and obviously so is Kristoffersson. Between them, 14 FIA World Championships between just those 2 men. I mean, it is incredible. But a brilliant performance by Fraser McConnell and Cristina Gutierrez to come home and take the win. Pleased for them, I really am. They've had a bit of bad luck here and there. They're not in contention for the title, which the team won last year, and it's just nice to see them prove that they've got that speed.
Look at this, it's podium time, it's hugs, it's smiles for X44 Vita Carbon Racing. Look at that, huge congrats. Such a fab team, X44 here. So much diversity, you've got equal men and women in the teams, of course, and yeah, it's just, look how happy they are. Gosh, I want to be in their team tonight celebrating.
I'm not going to lie, they do have good parties. I know Fraser get the party started tonight, definitely, and Cristina gives that special crash helmet over. Brilliant drive by the pair of them. Here we go.
What's going on?
I think we're going for the Jamaican point. You ready for it?
Like a bow and arrow.
Like a bow and arrow.
Here we go.
Way.
Yeah, big up Jamaica, and I think Cristina Gutierrez is going to be an honorary Jamaican, isn't she, at this rate?
100%. And Fraser, he's such a great guy as well, isn't he? He was the championship driver when I used to be on site with him. He was just always such great chat, always a happy guy.
What's lovely about the support he gets at home and how proud he is of driving as a Jamaican is that they're into it. They love their motorsport, and they really do. So Usain Bolt and the Prime Minister of Jamaica have both posted about Fraz racing before.
No
but yeah,
way.
It's big. Gutierrez, reigning champion, female driver, brilliant. She got that gap, she kept it. You know, Arlen Kotlinski never got closer than 2.7 seconds. Fraser's fully having like a little dance. More energy, more energy, more energy.
Know what? He looks like, you know when you've got the joy for something, the pure, he does it because he just absolutely bloomin' loves it, and you can see it, and when you get a win like this, it makes all the difference. You can obviously see the good relationship between the 2 of them as well.
Yeah. Makes a big, big difference. It really does. There are your winners for round 8. X44, Vita Carbon Racing, Fraser McConnell, Cristina Gutierrez, all smiles after a brilliant performance in the final here to take victory in Sardinia. There is a beautiful view of the Santa Elena. We're going to go down to Laura Winter, who's with some of our podium finishers.
So P3, 2 consecutive podiums for you guys this weekend. What's your immediate reaction to that one?
We are not really happy with this position because we had a problem with the water spray on the windscreen, and so we couldn't see anything. So at the beginning we were really offensive, but without visibility it was too difficult. So we lost some places and some time, and that's it. So at the end we are still on the podium, a second podium of the weekend. That's not too bad, but we were trying to have a better place.
Clara, shows the ambition of this team, doesn't it, that P3 is simply not enough for you guys?
Yeah, we were blind for 4 laps, but P3 is still good points. But yeah, I think we had the possibility to fight for the victory. So next one.
Oh, hard luck today, but well done. P3, go and enjoy the podium. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Oi, oi, oi.
I know, we need a bit of a break after that, don't we, Andrew?
Yeah, I do, I'm afraid. Yeah, double headers are a killer, aren't they? Back down to Laura, let's have another break.
Johan Kristoffersson, P2 for you and Michaela Arlen-Kotelinski. There were some moves you made in your laps. Just talk me through them and what it was like in the car.
Yeah, I didn't really see much, but yeah, I didn't get a really good start, but yeah, got passed by Sebastian after I managed to be P2 into waypoint 1, so that was a nice move by him. And then, yeah, I dropped another position in the water splash, basically, yeah, just driving blind. So, and from there on, managed to get back to P2 in the switch.
And very quickly, before we let you go to the podium, Michaela, just your thoughts on a P2 and the championship fight, well and truly alive into Chile.
Yeah, super important and great job from Johan. I mean, that was really amazing. So, important points. Thank you to the team also. Great job.
Yeah, great stuff. Well done to you guys. Enjoy the podium. Thank you.
That is a not stoked Johan Kristoffersson, I'm afraid. He loves to win, I get it. But I think when they realise that the title fight's still alive, you know, he's obviously a bit cross. He couldn't see coming out of the water splash. I get it. Having said that, we were discussing whether you keep the wipers off until you get in to stop them getting ripped off the screen. Laura's with our winners.
X44 winners here in Sardinia. Fraz, you are beaming from ear to ear. Just sum up that opening couple of laps from you.
No, I knew it was going to be tough. It's been a really tough weekend. Even the last event we were here, around 5 and 6, you know, definitely one to forget. But, you know, even yesterday again, I hate being in the redemption race. It's the worst feeling ever. But, you know, X44, the Carlin team, they work so hard to give us a good package every time we go out there. You know, just thinking back to my first time being involved in Extreme was a championship driver last year in Sardinia. You know, wouldn't be standing here or even in the car if it wasn't for the opportunity that Luis gave me to jump in the car and race for X44. So incredible to drive for the team, incredible to drive with Christina, and yeah, to get a win after 4 bad rounds is nice.
You can see how much it means to you. And quickly, before we start our podium, Christina, just your reaction to that. Brilliant after, of course, tough round yesterday, a tough day yesterday too.
Yeah, it was tough, but finally, Fraser did a very good start in the final. He gave me car in a good position with Gab, and I need to manage to finish and win our second race together. So we are happy. The team has a very good effort, and we are very happy.
Superb racing. Go and enjoy the podium. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very, very pleased. Yeah. It's great, though, and I love the emotion. It means a lot, obviously, to both of them, particularly, as Fraser said, after a bunch of bad rounds. This is what Gutierrez was talking about, a very good start. I love the way he opened up the steering mid-corner, let the car run wide, got on the throttle, and got around the outside there. It's the exact same line that Ekstrom took yesterday, but Fraser really made it work. He really did.
Yeah, and he just seemed to have so much speed, but also composure. I mean, I also don't think we can actually overstate how talented these drivers are. They are literally the best in the world. We've only got 10 teams, and look at
this.
that!
Look at this.
Oh.
That was a moment turning into an incredible pass. I say Johann's full of disappointment right now, but I think when he looks back and sees some of the moves he made, he'll be pretty pleased.
Yeah. Oh, just look at that!
It's Fraser, you sweated out the lens.
And here is the podium. Third place at Cupra, Clara Anderson and Seb Loeb, and they will be happy with a podium here.
Racing. And our winning team, X44 Vida Carbon Racing. Now, please be upstanding for the winning team's national anthem.
national anthem of the winning team, X44 Vita Carbon Racing, of course, run by Carlin Motorsport, and all British, backed by Lewis Hamilton as well, with a Jamaican and a Spanish driver taking a win on an Italian island. It's just brilliant, isn't it? Fantastic.
It really is, and having personally been on the other side of this in Sardinia last year, I just want to say there's so much work that goes into it from everyone behind the scenes. The people who build the track are there for weeks. You've got the global team, you've got the safety team, you've got the event team, the managers, just everyone, all the work that goes into it. It's exceptional to enable these drivers to go out there and do what they do best on such a cool event, let's face it.
Putting on a show, putting on a very fun show for us all. That was brilliant.
Yeah, gosh, it's been an absolute ride, hasn't it? It really has. And these trophies, they seem to get better and better every race.
Yeah, they are very cool. They're really different. There's recycled plastics then used as 3D printing, beautifully designed. And yeah, I've been lucky enough to see a few of them at Johann's place. Very cool, very cool.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind having some of that in your trophy cabinet, would you? It definitely stands out.
I wouldn't have any trophies in my trophy cabinet. I gave away the swimming ones years ago, you know, when I was 17 or whatever. No,
the moment's passed, hasn't it?
I know. I'd have another go. I'll be happy with P8, to be honest. I just like to be out there having fun with these guys. They've not all had the best time ever.
Johann's not exactly celebrating there.
Johann's not ecstatic, but he will be if they lift the title in Chile. And what they've done this weekend has laid the foundations for a brilliant fight at the end of the season between Acciona Sainz and RXR. Veloce are still in it. I'm sure there's another couple of teams mathematically still in it, but the gaps really mean that it's going to be a two-horse race. And every point, every session, every Continental Traction Challenge bonus is going to make a difference to who lifts the big trophies at the end of the year. Right now, it's about lifting champagne bottles for X44. McConnell and Gutierrez on the podium, celebrating. And I'm pretty sure that's going to continue for another few hours.
100%. Wouldn't mind being there celebrating with them tonight. Oh, and Seb Loeb, look at that!
It's lovely. Loeb going over and congratulating his teammate from last year. Remember, him and Gutierrez were
they
come together and cheers. He's like, I don't want your trophy, I want a ching ching. And Fraser can't see because champagne in the eyes really stings. It's horrible.
What a problem to have, champagne in the eyes.
First world problem. Oh no, someone spilled my champagne in my eyes.
After winning an amazing race. Oh my goodness. Jamaica.
I love 100%. How much he loves it. I love how much they all do. They all go up on the podium with their national flags, and rightly so. Be great if we could play all their anthems, but seeing as it would have been 3, we'd have been here a while and we'd have had to go off air. But wonderful stuff. I love seeing how excited they all are.
Yeah, and look at that helmet from Cristina Gutierrez. Some of those children who helped design that helmet are no longer with us, and her brother works at the hospital, so it really is emotional for her to be wearing that. We love it. Yeah, look at that, X44 on the podium. It's going to be a good night for them, isn't it? And it's been a good weekend for us. It's been good fun. We've had some amazing racing here for rounds 7 and 8. And you know what? Extreme E really is unpredictable. And when the dust settles for Rosberg X Racing, they are going to think, nah, that was an all right weekend. That really was an okay weekend, because they are massively in contention. If Acciona Sainz had been in that final, then it might have been a different story now. But Johan Kristoffersson can go home, he can have a little break, and he can think, yeah, Chile's going to be tasty.
It certainly is. I can't wait. I can't wait. Love these podium shots. Look at the smiles. Look at the smiles. Great performance by them. Yeah, when you're out of championship contention, see, this is the other thing that would be quite nice for us at the final round, is that there are going to be 2 or 3 teams who are fully focused on the championship. There are going to be another couple of teams and a bunch of drivers who are going, I need a contract for next year. I need to prove how quick I am, and we're going to be in for some great racing. Here we go then, championship standings after round 8. It's going to be a thriller down in Chile. 139 for Acciona Sainz, 136 for Rosberg X Racing. Brilliant. Veloce still in the mix on 118. Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing for GMC. Yep, they're going to be in there as well. An X44 Vita Carbon Racing. They're outside bets, but with Extreme E, anything can happen. And it's been a brilliant season so far. Going to be a great end.
And then in 6th, it's Abt Cupra with 75 points and Andretti in at 7. And then a bit further down, we've got 8. We've got McLaren, who are hoping for a better time in Chile. And then in 9th place, JBXE, and rounding it off in 10th, our Carl Cox Motorsport.
Next up, we are heading to Chile for the championship finale. 2 rounds to decide the title winners in 2023. Are you ready? I'm not ready right now, I've got to be honest. I don't think anybody is. It's been a long weekend. But give me until December, I'll be more than ready. I'll be roasting, and so will the drivers as well. It has been a fantastic weekend in Sardinia. Our thanks to Laura Winter. My thanks to Jess Rogers. Great to have you with us. I hope you've enjoyed it.
It's been absolutely epic. Loved it.
Fantastic. So great stuff. My name's Andrew Kelly. A big thanks to everybody on the event and the production side as well. We hope you guys have enjoyed it. We've only got one more weekend to go. The first weekend of December, we head to Chile. Make sure you book that in your diaries as one where you want to be watching with us as we find out who is going to win Season 3 of Extreme E. It's pretty much going to be a 2-horse race, we think, between RXR and Acciona Sainz. They took a win apiece this weekend here in Sardinia. So close. Cannot wait for the finale. See you very soon to find out who picks up the big trophies in Extreme E 2023.
Round 8, here in Sardinia, Italy. This is the Island X Prix.
Marling's into the back of Sorensen. She can't see. She's off the road. Acciona Sainz have got it. They've got it by 600ths of a second. R.J. Anderson goes cross-country. Acciona Sainz has stopped down track. Championship leaders in serious trouble. McLaren for X44 gets the whole shot. Second win of the year for X44 Vita Carbon Racing.